The CDC's own science says schools are not a source of community risk.
Well, so here's the thing. What the CDC, what they have recommended are exactly that, recommendations.
All right, well, that was Vice President Kamala Harris earlier today in an interview with NBC's Savannah Guthrie, defending the decision to keep schools closed. We've been beaten over the head with these calls to follow the science, except when the science doesn't agree with teachers' unions. And now even the Biden-Harris administration admits that they won't only listen to experts, but only when they feel like it, right? So let's bring in our company to discuss former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens and former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. Governors, welcome. It's good to say that.
Thanks, Sean. Great to be with you.
Before we get into breaking this down on the school, real quick, Governor Greitens, just quickly, I know Rush Limbaugh is from your state of Missouri. What impact did he have on the conservative base in Missouri?
Well, and across the country. Why? Because he spoke from the heart. He spoke from the heart, and he was unafraid, Sean. He was willing to stand up and to fight for conservative principles, even at a time when it was unpopular, and he is deeply missed in Missouri.
Governor McDonnell, you know, we heard over and over again, trust the science, trust the science. Trump's not trusting the science. We will trust the science. It turns out that unless the science is made by a bunch of teachers' unions, we're not following the science anymore.
Yeah. You know, he gets such a pass from all the media, the mainstream media, that no matter what he says, they're going to find a way to contrast it with President Trump's actions and try to make President Biden look good. Look, these are not easy decisions. You know, you've got balancing public safety versus making sure that you open institutions quickly. The idea of injecting politics into this, Sean, is not new. You know, like in my state, we kept liquor stores and abortion clinics open while we closed churches and schools. Didn't make any sense to me. We know what works, and it's masks and social distancing, and we can safely reopen schools. These young kids can't learn long distance. We don't have the distance education programs for K through 12 in place like we do for colleges, and they need the social interaction. They don't get infected like older people. So, you know, I think that in my state and others, we're getting kids back to school. But the biggest thing is, Sean, this is not a federal government responsibility. I know my friend Eric Greitens and I agree. Under the principles of federalism, this is the states and the localities' job to get kids back to school. And the one-size-fits-all approach out of Washington will mess it up.
Yeah. Well, you know, Biden did speak about opening schools up last night in the CNN town hall. I just want to play a clip of part of what he said. Listen.
Your administration had set a goal to open the majority of schools in your first 100 days. You're now saying that means those schools may only be open for at least one day a week.
No, that's not true. That's what was reported. That's not true. It was a mistake in the communication. But what I'm talking about is I said opening the majority of schools in K through 8th grade because they're the easiest to open, the most needed to be open in terms of the impact on children and families having to stay home.
So when do you think that would be K through 8, at least 5 days a week, if possible?
I think we'll be close to that at the end of the first 100 days.
All right, Governor Greitens. Well, not only, it wasn't reported wrong. Actually, his own press secretary, Jen Psaki, is the one who gave a briefing on that, so it wasn't reported wrong. I don't know if he's throwing her under the bus there. I will say, it seems like they keep moving the goalpost here. My heart goes out to high school kids who just get left out of this. Is this satisfactory to you as a governor?
No, it's not. And look, what is very clear, there's a twisted message coming out of the Biden administration about this, but what every American is seeing and hearing very clearly is they're being heartless. It matters to kids that you get schools open. There are tens of thousands of children across the country who not only need schools to open so that they can learn, but for a lot of kids who have learning disabilities, for a lot of kids who come from difficult backgrounds, school is a place where they go and they get social and emotional development. They get love from teachers and coaches and mentors. They get caring from adults. All of those things are not happening, and it's not happening because Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the left, their priorities are in the wrong place. And it's clear now, despite this twisted message, that they just don't care enough to do the work to fight the fight that needs to be fought on behalf of children across the country.
Yeah. Governor McDonald, I want to shift gears and talk about another governor, Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York. He's getting a ton of backlash, finally, over his handling of the New York nursing homes. And now that death number that has finally come out because of the Attorney General in New York, it turns out that it's 50% higher. Democratic Assemblyman Ron Kim recently told CNN that he received a call on his cell phone from the governor last week. And he said that he says this is what he told CNN. Governor Cuomo called me directly on Thursday to threaten my career if I did not cover up for Melissa DeRosa, that's his aide, and what she said. He tried to pressure me to issue a statement, and it was very traumatizing. Governor, it's amazing. Like, up for the last year, this guy's been getting an Emmy. He got a book deal. He's been playing patty cake with his brother on CNN. And suddenly it turns out that it's all as big of a farce as the Lincoln Project.
This was an extraordinary time to govern. I had 4 years, and there's been nothing like this for a mayor, a governor, or president to face since the Spanish flu in 1918. So there's no playbook to go to. But the problem is, he made a bad decision by forcing all these seniors back into nursing homes where the virus spread. It took him about 6 weeks into May before he reversed it. But he's not owning it. In fact, he wrote a book about how great his leadership was during the COVID crisis. He gets all these patty cake interviews with his brother, and now he's blaming it on the Trump administration. I mean, that's just flat out poor leadership. Take ownership, admit that you made a mistake. People are willing to forgive you when you own it. And for 15,000 deaths to take place because of a bad decision, he can do and should do a lot better than this. He's just getting way too much of a pass. And now both parties are going to hold him accountable in New York for what happened.
Governor Greitens, I literally have 30 seconds. But don't you think, if this was you and you lied about the numbers and covered it up, the press in Missouri would not be giving you the free pass that he's gotten from the national press and the local press in New York up until now.
Absolutely. Sean, the liberal media would go after you. They'd go after Bob. They'd go after any conservative. But instead, they give Governor Cuomo an Emmy. Again, it just shows that the left is playing by a different set of rules. And it's why people are tuning into places like Newsmax, because you guys are bringing them the straight facts.
That's right. Exactly. Governors, thank you both for being with us. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you guys back soon.
You bet.